February 10, 1:06 p.m. District Court. Courtroom number 7. Now then, let's continue where we left off, shall we? Well, witness?
Yes. How can I help you, Mr. Judge?
Well, he seems that you were to learn the truth. We'll need to hear your testimony.
I have no problem with that. But when you've seen what I have, sometimes the truth is better left unknown.
Yeah, I know, Nick. I know. You feel like you want to strangle her. You feel like shoving down a bunch of bananas down her throat, strangle her, and then throw her down the river. Where the bedrock is, that is. But I advise you to not do that in this current situation. In any case, let's hear your testimony. Tell us about the plan that was carried out that night.
The whole plan began with my death. A stupid plan hatched by Morgan Fate to install her own daughter as the next master. But for it to work, Maya Fey would first have to die. The idea was for me to kill Maya and then have the blame pinned on Iris. The plan went wrong, but it seems to have succeeded anyway.
So that means you... Wait a minute. Did you just say the plan was to kill Maya Fey?
Yes. You have a problem with that?
Don't give us that nonsense. There's no... What, you're so trite. If you got a problem, solve it during cross-examination. That's one of my rules. Mr. Kato is correct. And by the way, that's one of my rules as well. To kill Maya. Could it be true? Okay then.
The whole plan began with my death.
You were executed last month, correct?
Yes, I was hanged. It wasn't exactly pleasant.
Good! How did you manage to discuss the plan? When did you talk with Morgan Fay?
Last year, she was transferred to the same detention center as me. Since I was on death row and she was my mother, it was actually pretty easy to meet with her.
I see. So that's when you discussed the plan?
Ha! Are you crazy? At first, that woman was planning to kill me as well. Even though I'm her own daughter.
All to make Pro Fay the master of Kurein. Christ. That woman is such a disgusting being. That, I am forgetting her name again. Morgan! There you go, Morgan. There, that was the name.
She was a cold, twisted woman. She thought she could finally regain her lost honor. The honor she lost when her younger sister, Misty, took her place as the master. Ever since that day, she's been working on this plan.
A plan, huh?
A stupid plan hatched by Morgan Fay to install her own daughter as the next master.
You're talking about Pro Fay, is that correct?
Yes, though at first she had high hopes for the two of us.
You and your twin sister, Iris.
That's correct. Fortunately, neither of us had much spiritual power. That's why we were abandoned by her, along with our father.
Abandoned?
The only person I ever really cared about in life was myself. My sister was a nuisance, so I convinced my father to leave her at an old temple.
You mean Iris? So you are even responsible for your father abandoning Iris as well?
Yes, my father remarried a woman who also had a daughter. The less children we have, the more money there is to go around, right? And on top of that, my father had absolutely no interest in children in general.
How horrible.
The really horrible one was that woman. That bitter, vengeful woman. It was her stubbornness that gave birth to that child. Pearl Faye. She was born with an abundance of spiritual power. Unfortunately for her, Morgan Faye heaped all of her broken hopes and dreams onto that poor child's back. All because of her pathetic dreams of having her bloodline become the main family. But for it to work, Maya Faye would first have to die.
Maya would have to die? But why?
For her bloodlines to succeed as the main family, thus making Pearl the new master. The remaining descendants of the current master had to be taken care of.
But Pearl would never agree to a plan like that. True. Granted, I doubt that she even understood what was going on when she was trying to follow that letter that Morgan sent her. She didn't know that her mother was trying to have Maya killed. She adores Maya.
How sad. You still don't get it, do you? What Pearl wanted had nothing to do with it. Morgan didn't care one bit about Pearl. The only thing she cared about was the position of the master. That's all.
That's ridiculous.
She was willing to sacrifice anything and anyone to achieve her goal. The life of her daughter. And naturally, the life of Maya Faye as well.
How could anyone do that? Some sick people, that's for sure.
The idea was for me to kill Maya and then have the blame pinned on Iris.
You were going to kill Maya?
Pearl didn't need to know anything about it. All she had to do was to follow the instructions in the letter and channel me. Then, I would have simply used her body and finished the job. In any case, I'm already dead, and there's nothing any of you can do to me.
So the plan was to blame the crime on your younger twin. On Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple.
She and I look absolutely identical. No one can tell us apart. If someone were to witness me killing Maya, naturally they would think it was Iris that had done it.
Right. And the witness in this case was the head nun, Sister Bikini.
I never would have guessed she was going to return to Hazakura Temple that night. But she wound up seeing Iris' crime anyway.
But why did you want to pin the murder on Iris in the first place? She's your twin sister, isn't she?
Twin sister? Don't make me laugh. She's nothing but a backstabber. I couldn't care less about her.
Backstab? She is talking about Terry Force's case. Initially, she was going to be a part of that case too, but Iris decided to back away from the plan.
You just don't understand. You never will. Anyway, the plan went wrong, but it seems to have succeeded anyway.
You think the plan was a success?
You heard me, just as that woman had hoped. Maya Faye is dead. Now the title of the master will pass on to Pearl Faye.
That's absurd. Maya is just... she's just trapped. Trapped inside the sacred cavern.
Really? You're as foolishly optimistic as ever, aren't you? My darling Feeny.
Oh, don't you dare say that, Dahlia. You no longer have the right to call him Feeny anymore, after what you did. Only I can do that.
Do you want to know the truth? Ever since we met, I've despised you. Your sniveling naivety and your pathetic faith in our people.
just want to know one thing. What did you personally think of Morgan Faye's plan?
I told you already, didn't I? It was a stupid plan. It had no point. No value other than fulfilling her own greedy desires. Yes, it was certainly nothing to be proud of.
If that's how you feel, why did you help her carry it out? Why would you do it? Why would you kill Maya?
You may not understand it, being the kind and gentle soul that you are. You may not be able to appreciate why someone like me would help a woman like that.
So then tell me, why? Well, off the top of my head, I can think of, well, revenge. Either to make Nick suffer, or to have Mia Faye suffer.
Isn't it obvious? I'm not like that woman. I only act in my own self-interest. The reason I helped her was for myself. For my own personal satisfaction.
What did you say? So this woman, Dahlia Hawthorne, she had her own reason for wanting Maya dead?
Do you understand why I would kill Maya Faye now? What my goal was?
Obviously, it's because you were helping Morgan Faye.
Helping? Don't make me laugh. From the day I was born to the day I died, I never helped anyone. I lived for myself, and, in the end, I died for myself. I thought that was obvious.
So she wasn't actually cooperating with Morgan. She was just using Morgan and her plan so she could accomplish her own goal.
All I wanted to do was kill Maya Faye. That was the only way I could think of to get revenge.
Revenge? It looks like I have no choice but to present that piece of evidence. I cannot believe it. She meant to kill Maya. I've got to keep a cool head. And I need to get more information out of her. It's the only way to understand this plan, and what she was after as well. Okay then. I don't think that there's anything to really contradict here. The only thing we can do is, like, try to move forward and figure out what her revenge consisted of, I think. So... Should I present Mia Faye? Yeah, I mean, she would want revenge on the person that put her in jail in the first place. Or he would want revenge on Nick for being such a dumb person back then and never giving the bottle necklace away, but we don't really have his profile here, do we? Yeah, apparently we do not have his profile here, so... Mia Faye it is! Could it be that your actual goal had nothing to do with Mia Faye herself?
As I said, none of you had the power to punish me anymore. Because I'm already dead. Well, I had the same problem, you see. You cannot punish the dead, and you cannot take revenge against them either.
You want to take revenge on someone?
I was sentenced to die because of that woman. Mia Faye.
I somehow knew this was it.
I wanted to send her a message. It was at her hands that I suffered my first humiliation. I wanted her to feel the same pain she made me feel. Sadly, when I realized revenge was impossible, I gave up.
And the reason it was impossible? Was it perhaps because Mia Faye had already died?
Yes, and I realized there's only one way to take revenge against the dead.
And how do you do that?
Even when the body dies, the spirit, the ego, it lives on, forever. I wanted to take away that person that Mia Fey loved most. I wanted to kill her with my own hands. And that would be the one and only way I could take my revenge against Mia Fey. That was the reason I helped out with that woman's plans.
Just for that. For that you will kill Maya. Jesus. Your goal was no different than that of Morgan Fey. As they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. What a cruel plan. Cruel, cold, and heartless.
Don't waste your time preaching to the dead. I've already told you, there's not a thing you can do to me. That night, at about 9:30 p.m., I materialized into this world. I quickly pinned my pair up and put on a demon warding hood. Then, I picked up the staff that was by my side and left Hazakura Temple.
So, it was at least Donham who challenged her after all.
That ridiculous head nun never noticed a thing. She left Maya Fey at the inner temple and wobbled back, clutching her pool bag.
What did you do then?
That kid was easier to handle than I had hoped. I caught up with her in front of the stone lantern. Then, I took out the dagger I got from the storeroom and...
So then you saying you stabbed Maya?
It's strange, but I don't have a clear memory of what happened after that.
What does that mean? No clear memory.
I don't know. I think I was stabbed.
You were stabbed? Is that so?
At the last minute, Maya Fey must have stabbed me. I'm sure of it.
That's not like her at all. Maya wouldn't stab a French fry with a plastic fork.
Anyway, I suddenly lost consciousness. But before I did, I scrawled her name on the lantern. Just as I was passing out, I wrote Maya behind my back. I had hoped you would cast suspicion on her.
I can't believe she was thinking of that until the bitter end.
That's where my memory temporarily stops.
It stops.
I don't have any memory of actually killing Maya Fey with my own two hands. My very last memory was Maya's terror-filled eyes. When I woke up after that, I was in the sacred cavern surrounded by darkness.
You were in the sacred cavern?
The entrance was sealed with one of those trick locks. Somehow, I had been trapped in there.
But how did they wind up in there?
I'd like to know that myself. Anyway, I was worried. I didn't know whether or not Maya Fey was dead. And I swore I wouldn't return to the Underworld until I knew I had killed her myself.
For a ghost, you're one tough cookie.
I wanted to get out of there and make sure she was dead. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't get out.
The trick lock stopped you, huh?
I didn't know how to remove it.
So then you're saying you were actually confined against your will inside this sacred cavern?
Yes, I wanted to get rid of that annoying lock as soon as possible. But it wasn't easy. I kept getting interrupted while I was working on it.
Interrupted?
It was early in the morning, but someone came into the training hall.
What? Who? Could it have been Maya?
I thought the same thing, but I couldn't see.
Why not?
If someone had spotted me, I would have lost my chance to take revenge. So I made sure to hide myself well at the back of the sacred cavern.
That morning, only 2 people could have gone into the training hall. Maya and Prose. Prose went there to cover the hanging scroll in gravy.
Still, I finally managed to remove the lock. But I was too late.
What did you mean by that?
The flies had already started to gather.
The bridge had been fixed, and the police had started an investigation. Correct.
Naturally, I couldn't go out. So instead, I returned to the cavern and put the block back on myself. I realized I wouldn't get a chance to see Maya's corpse, as I had hoped. But just then, Lady Luck showed up.
Lady Luck?
After that big earthquake, she showed up, all by herself.
The real liars?
She said she'd come to make sure the sacred cavern was alright. Stupid girl. I came out from the sacred cavern and got a feel for the situation. And I locked her away in my place. I had finally learned exactly what had happened. It was then that I learned that the plan had actually succeeded.
What do you mean your plan has succeeded?
I had misunderstood one thing, you see. That night, the one that had summoned me, I had assumed that it was Pearl Fey.
Well, of course you would have assumed that. It was written in the instructions.
But I was wrong. The person that had actually called my spirit back was... Misty Fey, the picture book author.
What?
Well, that's really the only possibility, isn't it? After I lost consciousness in the garden, it was her body that was left lying there. Maya Fey. I wasn't able to kill her with my own hands, after all. But even so, I made her commit the most vile sin a human can commit.
And that is?
Matricide. The sin of killing her own mother.
No way! Order! Order in the court! What is the meaning of this? I call this a huge poppycock, Your Honor. If it happened the way you're telling us, Dahlia, then what reason would Misty Fey have for channeling you in the first place? I mean, also, if this is what happened, then what happened to Maya in your story? Like, what happened after that?
It's true that I was the one who attacked Maya Fey. But even so, the murderer who actually snuffed out Misty Fey's life was none other than your darling little Maya.
Ridiculous. That's nonsense.
Are you sure about that? Just think about it. There's even evidence supporting these facts, isn't there?
What? What do you mean? What is this so-called evidence?
The fact that Maya Fey has disappeared is evidence enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
The idea that she's still in the sacred cavern is just ridiculous. She wasn't able to escape from the inner temple. That much is obvious. In that case, there's only one place she could be.
Where?
Do I have to spell it out? In the bottom of the Eagle River. What else?
What? Eagle River?
Fei killed her long-lost mother. Can you imagine the guilt she must have felt when she realized that? That's why she threw herself into the Eagle River. Most bodies that wind up in there are lost forever. So, what do you have to say now, Fanny?
Yep, that is some good old cow bullshit there, if you ask me. I can think of at least 2 reasons why Mai is not dead. There? Oops. Sorry, that's my phone. You have your theme set as your ringtone? What kind of ringtone is that? Man, I wish I myself had my own theme, so that I can put it as my ringtone. Gato here. Okay. Thanks. Was it something important? They just finished removing the locks from the sacred cavern. That's great! What about Maya? There was a woman in the cave. Was it Maya Fey? He was the accused, Sister Iris. Huh?
Yeah, don't look so surprised. I locked her in there yesterday. I just finished telling you that.
So, what about Maya? Where is she? And there was no one else found inside the sacred cavern. No. It cannot be.
I told you, didn't I? She's dead.
No. No! It seems that this case has come to an end. A tragic end. Sadly, it appears the killer of Elias Donna, also known as Misty Fey, was her own daughter, Maya Fey. Overcome with guilt for what she had done, Maya Fey jumped to her death into the raging waters of the Eagle River. It can't be. Come on, Nick. This isn't the moment of defeat. It is time for you to turn the case upside down the way you usually do. I mean, think about it. Elise is dead. Prose is with us and couldn't channel Dahlia's spirit anyway. Iris is confirmed to be found at the sacred cavern, so the question is, who is this person channeling Dahlia now? That and, well, remember that the bridge was burning at the time of the murder, and when the body got transported on the Hazakara temple side. Like, Maya was stuck on the inner temple side, and Dahlia is saying that Maya fell into the Eagle River, swimming with the fishies. Now, how is that even possible if there was something at the bottom of the river that made it impossible for her to do that? Something that is not liquid, but rather something solid, Nick? Ha. Try it. Have you ever heard this one? Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. No matter how improbable it may seem. Well, what is that supposed to mean, Prosecutor Garo? According to this witness, Maya Fey threw herself into the Eagle River. However, is that really the truth? Gato. Remember, this woman testified earlier that the bridge was already on fire, when the murder was taking place in the garden. Which means if Maya had thrown herself into the river, it must have been from the inner temple site, near the bridge.
That's right. That's where she jumped from.
But that's impossible. It's impossible to jump into the river from there. Indubitably. Especially since at the bottom of the river there was... Come on, Nick, think. It is your turn to rise and move forward. What? Yeah, come on, Nick, think. Don't get your panties all twisted up, Trite. Just relax and think through the whole thing again. So it's impossible. Maya couldn't have thrown herself into a.k.a. River. Well, Mr. Wright, Ms. Hawthorne claims Miss Faye threw herself into the river from the inner temple site. Do we have any evidence that refutes this claim? Yes, Your Honor. As I mentioned before, something solid was there at the bottom of the river. And that can be none other than... the bedrock. I mean, we discussed this in Mia Faye's case, back when we had Terry Falls as the accused. And same thing can be discussed over here. As you can see on the right, there's the bedrock. So, yep, there's your evidence, Your Honor. It's impossible to jump into a.k.a. River from the inner temple side. No one knows that better than this witness.
What did he say?
11 years ago, you jumped into the very same river. Just take a look at this overhead map. As you can see, below the cliff on the inner temple side is a big rock shelf. Oh! You're right. She wouldn't have reached the river if she had jumped off from there. And if we are to say that she did jump there, then that would mean that her body would still be there, and you know me, I'm not satisfied until I see her death with my own two non-existent eyes. We can send in the police there to investigate. And I bet all my money that body is not there. In other words, if she had jumped, we should be able to see her body in this photo!
Aha!
So you finally figured it out. Indeed. Nick is back in action. Thank you, by the way, Gato. Ine.
You... No!
Order!
You're just playing with me. My Faye's body is at the bottom of the a.k.a. River. There's nowhere else she could possibly be hiding.
Miss Hawthorne, have you ever heard this one before? Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth.
Yes, just a few minutes ago.
Maya Faye wasn't inside the sacred cavern. We know that she didn't throw herself into the a.k.a. River. Correct. And that eliminates all the most likely possibilities. Now, although it seems improbable, there is still one other place she could be. What? What is this one possibility you're talking about?
That's obviously above. So where is her dead body then?
Finally, I think the pieces are falling into place. Normally the living have no way to punish the dead. But I think there is a way to give Dahlia Hawthorne the ultimate punishment. Shall I tell you, Miss Hawthorne? Shall I tell you where Maya Faye is this very instant? Maya Faye is... in this very courtroom! Just as I thought. There's only one possibility left. Namely, she is right here in this very courtroom! But Maya Faye is here. You say she's here in my courtroom? Dahlia Hawthorne. I seem to recall that you said I had misunderstood one thing, you see.
So what?
But I think there's one more thing you misunderstood.
What do you mean?
Tell me something. At this very moment, who is channeling Dahlia Hawthorne?
Oh, that's obvious. It's Pearl Faye, that pathetic little sniveling runt.
You cannot even offer a good lie, Dahlia. That is not possible because, well, Pearls is with us, like right here. You're wrong. Pearls tried, but she couldn't do it.
I've never felt like channeling someone. This is the first time it's happened.
Is there any explanation for why you couldn't channel a spirit?
It could happen if someone else was already channeling the same spirit. Someone called me before Pearl did? But who?
Pearls even tried again on the day after the crime, but she couldn't do it. What could that mean? I think the truth is becoming clearer to you right about now, am I correct?
Ah!
It wasn't Pearls that channeled you. There was someone who called you before she could. And that person is definitely Maya Faye. This is an easy one. Pearls couldn't do it, and Mr. Faye is gone. There's only one possibility left. Come on already! I cannot stand the tension. Like my blood pressure is through the roof. This is so epic. Dahlia Hawthorne. The person channeling you right now must be Maya Faye!
What?
But how could that be? I think I'm starting to get it. It may be that Dahlia truly believed it was Pearls who channeled her. And she came to the conclusion that she jumped into Ega River, that Maya jumped into Ega River. It wasn't that she specifically lied to us, but rather she didn't know. Remember what this witness, Dahlia Hawthorne, said about her goal? She said that her goal was to kill Maya Faye. Yes, that's right. But if Maya channeled the spirit of someone that was trying to kill her... Oh, Gramps. What would happen? Could it be? Yes, okay, finally understands, Your Honor.
Well, I don't. What are you going on about?
What I'm going on about is the reason Maya channeled you. And there's only one reason. To protect herself from you. Yep, that would be an explanation, alright. And with you not even knowing that that body belongs to Maya, it was easy for her to hide from you.
To protect herself? From me?
Yeah. On the night of the crime, you were only interested in one thing. Killing Maya Faye. The path back to Hasukara class closed off and there was nowhere for her to run. So then the problem became, where would be the safest place to hide?
You mean, that's when she channeled me?
All this time, you thought you had been channeled by Pearls. That's why it never occurred to you that Maya's hiding place was you!
No, don't say that!
Whoa!
You're saying that Dahlia Hawthorne, was played for a fool? By that little whelp? Maya Faye killed herself. Isn't it obvious?
Sorry, but no. It would have been impossible for her to jump into the Ega River. This was the only avenue of escape open to Maya. The only way that Maya could disappear from the inner temple.
I don't believe you. A stupid little girl like that who has never been out in the real world. She could never have come up with a plan like that. Who could have given her such a brilliant idea? Well, I mean, there is the letter. It could very well be that Maya found Pearl's letter and knew that she was gonna get killed if she didn't do something, so she decided to go that route of channeling the same killer that was going after her. That's where the idea came from. Well, me, of course. Mia? Wait, what? Wait, what? You told her? Mia Fey. It's been a long time, Dahlia Hawthorne. So it's true. It was you. Yes. Ha! You're something else. But what are you doing here? That hair. It's Pearl's, right? Tell me something, Dahlia. I want you to think back to that night one more time. You had just cornered Maya in the inner temple's garden. And then, in the final moments of the fight, you lost consciousness. I was stabbed by Maya Fey. Actually, Maya lost consciousness at the same time as you. She did? Eh? Not terribly surprising since she was about to get killed. When she woke up, she was in the training hall. That's when Maya decided she needed help, so she channeled me. She explained in the memo the situation she was in. She asked me what I thought she should do. She did that? I cannot believe it! Of course, I didn't have all the details, but one thing was perfectly clear.
And that was?
I knew that you couldn't be allowed to wander free.
Free? What do you mean?
It was a race against time, so I wrote down two things that Maya had to do. Channel Dahlia Hawthorne as soon as possible, and lock herself in the sacred cavern until help arrived.
So it was Maya who put that lock on there.
Well, call me King of Narwhals. This is news to me.
Yes, but why did you order her to do those two things?
If she hadn't done it, Dahlia Hawthorne would have been channeled by someone else. By one Pearl Fey.
So the reason why you told Maya to channel Dahlia was not just for Maya to hide inside her killer, but to also not have Pearls continue Morgan's plan. Cause if that happened, then Pearls, who channels Dahlia, would have killed Maya. Pearls?
Yes, Pearl didn't properly understand that plan. So all she was trying to do was follow her mother, Morgan Fey's instructions. If she had succeeded in channeling Dahlia Hawthorne's spirit, things would have turned out very badly, to put it mildly.
So that's how it was. Dahlia Hawthorne would have used the body of Pearl Fey to kill Maya at all costs. Yes, it certainly sounds like that was the intent all along.
How dare you! I won't forget this!
Why not just admit it, Dahlia Hawthorne? Your little plan was nothing but a big failure.
Yes, another failure to add to the pile of shame, when you say... What do you mean by another?
Think about it, Dahlia. Remember all your past crimes? Not a single one of them was a success. They all ended in failure. And even if you did succeed, like in Terry Fawz's case, Mia Fey beat you right in the back later and sent you to jail for all the suffering that you caused. You are surely one of the most despicable criminals I've seen. And surely one of the biggest failures who will never succeed in that case. Not in the past, not in the present, and certainly not in the future.
What? How dare you?
11 years ago. The fake kidnapping. Your very first crime. You got your hands on $2 million diamonds, but after Terry Foles escaped and went to meet with Valerie Halford, the truth was exposed.
Shut your mouth. That wasn't my fault. It was because of that stupid oath of a prisoner and that wiggling of a policewoman.
And then, 1 year later, you tried to kill me. Well, I'm still alive, but you wound up killing someone else. As a result, you are sentenced to death. It's one stupid move after another for you, but it's no longer funny.
You wipe that smug, happy-go-lucky smile off your face.
And now this. You've messed up again. You let Maya Fey escape, even though she was right there in front of you.
Mia Fey. Mia Fey, Mia Fey, Mia Fey! You spinster! I was supposed to kill Mia Fey like I swore I would. If only you had gotten this spiky-haired jerk the guilty verdict, I wouldn't have been hanged to death.
True.
But I think you finally understand, Dahlia Halford. You will never defeat me. What? What do you say?
Whether you're alive, dead, or somewhere in between, you will never defeat me. As long as I'm around, you're destined to lose for all eternity. I remember what you said earlier in the trial. You said there was no way we could punish you. Because you were already dead.
What about it?
Then you said, even when the body dies, the spirit, the ego, it lives on, forever.
That's very true, Dahlia. And that's exactly the punishment you will never be able to escape from. For all eternity, you'll have to remain as Dahlia Halford. A miserable, pathetic, weak creature who can never win at anything. And for you, there is no escape from that. No hope of freedom. Since the day you were executed, the narrow bridge that once stretched out in front of you has burned to a crisp. You... Oh... You're wrong. It can't be. How could I lose to the likes of you?
It no longer matters. I don't care whether you win or lose anymore. The only thing I want is for you to come out of Maya's body right now!
I'm not ready. Not ready to go. Nick. Sis.
Oh, thank God. No then. It's over. Once again, Dahlia is gone. And Maya is saved! We won! Time for a victory fall to the ground. Yeah. I assume you're the real Iris.
Yes. I was just rescued from the sacred cavern.
I must say, you and your twin sister are indeed identical, from what I can see. In any case, it appears that everything has finally been cleared up. Mr. Gato, what happened to Dahlia Halford? If you ask me, Your Honor, it looks like she went back to the hell she came from. And she better stay there as long as we live. It seems that Mr. Fei wasn't the only victim of this crime. Fei, as well as the young Pearl Fei, were also victims of this wicked and selfish plan. Yes, Your Honor. The tragedy of Medium Valley has finally come to an end, it seems. It would be best for everyone if no further attempt was made to channel that spirit again. You bet, Your Honor! Your Honor? Yes, what is it? About this whole spirit medium thing. It's almost weird how comfortable you seem to be with the concept now. Well, to be frank, my younger brother is quite judgmental. He often criticizes me for not studying hard enough. That's why I made a concerted effort to study up on the current channeling technique. Hey, isn't that a New Year's issue of Occult? So that's how he studies his current traditioning techniques with the occult, eh? Okay, well that's a good step. I've seen quite a few things in many years of the bench. And in all that time, I finally learned this one thing. Each case is different, and takes place in its own world, if you will. In order to fully understand that world, first we have to immerse ourselves in it completely. And that's where my brother and I used to differ. Damn. That's quite something, Judge. Never thought of it that way. At any rate, it's time to pass judgment to the case of Iris of Hazakura Temple.
Objection!
Hey!
You're a little too fast with that gavel, Your Honor. What do you mean by that, Mr. Gato?
This trial, it isn't over yet. That's what he means.
What? Try it. Remember what Miss Eve of Spirit said in her testimony. Huh? Dahlia's testimony?
I caught up with her in front of the stone lantern. Then, I took out the dagger I got from the storeroom and... It's strange, but... I don't have a clear memory of what happened after that. I think I was stabbed. Just as Dahlia Hawthorne was about to attack Maya, she was stabbed and killed by someone.
Yes, that's right. The person that was ultimately killed was a spirit medium that channeled Dahlia. At least Dawn. No, Misty Faye. But who killed her? We still don't know who did it. This isn't over? Unless someone else is found guilty. The accused is still on trial. Figures. I mean, we discussed how the body got transported and how Iris who went with the body to the Hazakura temple side, but we still have to discuss what happened exactly in the garden and all, so yeah, I guess we're still far away from the absolute truth. We're gonna let her walk until there is evidence that proves her innocence. No way. But this court isn't prepared for any further testimony. The prosecution is ready to call our final witness. The final witness?
Eh?
I mean, who? This one will clear up the whole mystery. The mystery of who killed Mr. Fei. Indeed.
Is he really alright, Mr. Prosecutor?
Of course it's alright, Madame Attorney. Very well then. Who is this final witness? Isn't it obvious? There's one person who saw the whole event, and who put the final dagger in this case. Could it be that you're talking about Maya? Someone who saw the murder take place? The very person who saw her mother killed in front of her own eyes.
You mean Maya?
Are we actually gonna cross-examine Maya? Interesting. I think this may actually be the first time we are cross-examining Maya, as much as she has been accused before and she was in danger. You can't. She cannot testify after what she just been through. We need to find the truth. The prosecution calls Maya Fei to the witness stand. I mean, as much as it is painful for Maya, a poor old thing, she has to come to the witness stand to figure out the truth. Even though she definitely deserves like 3 days of sleep after all this. And lots of burgers.
Lots and lots of burgers.
Very well. But first, we'll take a brief recess. We'll have to wait for Miss Fei to recover before summoning her. Once we receive the doctor's permission, we will proceed with the trial. Hey, try it. I've got something to say to you, so listen up.
What is it?
I don't think much of you as a lawyer. It's always the same with you. You somehow manage to just squeak by without even a faint understanding of the case. Some bit of a woman always seems to come dashing in at the last minute to save you. You've got some nerve. I mean, Nick definitely finished some cases without her help. I mean, the one that definitely comes to mind was back when Damon Gunt was still the chief of police. He managed that case quite well without Mia. But that's not going to happen this time. This time, you're going to have to do this by yourself. That's enough. This court is now in recess. February 10, 2:56 p.m. District Court. Defendant Lobby Number 1.
I'm truly sorry about everything. You were working so hard to defend me, but I was missing all day, and we didn't even have a chance to talk.
She's right. When I met Iris at the training hall yesterday, they had already switched places, and Iris was inside the sacred cavern.
I wanted to at least be in the defendant's box today to root you on.
Well, it wasn't your fault. You were locked up this whole time. There's something more important than that, though. I have to ask you, why did you help your sister out as much as you did? Yeah, I mean, we asked the same question before, and we got some answer, but that was from Dahlia. What about you, Iris?
Huh?
If you had tried to get help at the Sacred Cavern yesterday, you wouldn't have spent an entire day locked up in there.
My sister. I felt sorry for her. She was abandoned by her mother and never got any love from our father either.
Yeah, but it was the same for you too, wasn't it?
Yes. But at least I had Sister Bikini, who was like a mother to me. If only Dahlia had come with me to Hazukara Temple. I always loved her. Dahlia was always so smart, so strong. She never complained about anything. And that's why I promised her that I would help her.
Oh, you innocent thing. Yeah, talking about the fake kidnapping case 11 years ago.
Yes. I wanted to be useful to her in some way. But, as usual, I was too cowardly. At the last minute, I ran away. Because of that, Dahlia's stepsister, Valerie, ended up...
That was the case that wounded Mia so badly.
But things didn't end there, of course. Some people suspected that my sister was involved in the murder.
Some people. You must mean...
Yes, 2 defense attorneys. Mia Fey and Diego Armando. After poisoning Mr. Armando, he was getting too close to learning the truth. Dahlia even tried to kill the person who had unknowingly hid the poison for her. You.
That's right. Iris, there's one more thing that I have to ask you.
Yes? What is it?
On the night of the murder, the person that cleaned up the corpse of the victim, Elias Donner, was it really you?
Yes, it was me. That night, after I rang the lights out bell, I went back to my room. At around 10:30, I received a call on my cell phone.
There's a problem. Come to the inner temple right away.
I got on the snowmobile and headed for the inner temple. But...
The path to the inner temple was cut off, right?
Exactly.
You cannot just leave the body here. So you got to do this exactly as I say. Got it?
It was me. I was the one that received the body. The murder weapon had been left in her body so she wouldn't bleed too much. The stuff that Mystic Elise also held.
I knew it. Okay, well, we had that clarified. So the actual murder weapon was the staff.
Yes, that's right. I brought the body back to Hazukara Temple on the snowmobile.
But why? Why did you alter the body?
I didn't want anyone to know that the staff was the murder weapon. I didn't want to leave anything that would lead back to Misty Faye. So, I dressed her in a robe and stabbed her with a shichishito. I wiped the blood off the staff's blade and left it next to her on the ground.
Iris, and just tell me one last thing. Tell me the name of the person that called your cell phone. The real killer.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I cannot do it. I cannot say who did it.
I see. I guess it is something that we're gonna have to figure out ourselves. The real killer, that is. Has a sword hidden inside. The actual weapon used to murder the victim. Defendant!
Yes. The judge is calling you. He wants you to see you in his chambers. He has some questions about Dahlia Halford. Alright. Well then, I'll see you later. There's something I want to tell you. Oh, okay. Something she wants to tell me. Oh my. So it's true. Iris cooperated with the real killer. Maybe even from the very beginning. Phoenix. Mia? Hey there, Mia! How is Maya doing? Physically, I'm not worried. She'll recover completely. But emotionally, she's been hurt very badly by this case. I see. You don't mean... she's learned who Lily's Dahlia really was? Yes. I went to the medical office and talked with her. I told her everything I knew. But why? Maya is stronger than you think. I knew she could take it. All of it.
What do you mean by that?
I want you to figure that answer out by yourself. The trial is about to restart. The real killer. Do you know who it is yet?
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I've figured out the gist of how the body got transported. And I guess there's no room for doubt at this point that Iris was the one that carried the body. But we still have to see what happened with the... We're still gonna have to see what actually happened at the garden, who the real killer is. Because if Maya was the one that channeled Dahlia, and she got stabbed at some point, then there was definitely a third person there at the garden, besides Elise and Maya channeling Dahlia. Who that person is? Well, I have an inkling of... I have a thought of who it might be, but I guess we're gonna have to see for ourselves on the trial. Iris won't tell me who called her, but still, I think that just maybe I know who it was. That night, the victim was killed in the garden of the inner temple, and the criminal wasn't just there by accident, which means that the killer knew of Dahlia's plan from the very beginning. And one more thing, the victim was moved to Hazakura Temple site by pendulum. In other words, the criminal couldn't cross the bridge. That means they were stuck on the inner temple site for almost an entire day. Exactly. So the culprit was someone that wasn't in the Hazakura Temple the following day. That's as much help as I can give you. The rest of the battle is yours to win, or lose. Okay, I got it. Thank you, Mia. Finally, it's almost time to bring this case to an end. What exactly did Maya see anyway? And who was it that actually killed Mr. Faye? Whoever it was, I have to prove it. Me. All by myself.